That's all right, Sarge. Don't worry about it. It's all good, brother. It's all good. So we are theoretically going to have Kat joining us at some point here. In theory. In theory.
But that's just a theory. A screen theory.
Yep. That's us.
Thanks for watching.
And I, Brent, am preparing for the worst. I'm not preparing for the worst. But I am going to get a pen out. Pen, which is still talking in purple. Okay. It's not urgent, my friend. It's totally cool. Actually, yeah, well, we're doing fine. All right. So today we are talking about social media.
You just had somebody join.
Yep, I got him. There we go. We got Kat.
Hi, Kat.
Kat's still working on sound. But Kat's plugged in, so yeah, go to bed, Sarge. I'll talk to you in the morning. Good night. Still can't hear Kat, so they'll get there. I'm writing out social media though. Oh, Kat's got screen. Kat's got screen. Which means I'm gonna give Kat the big screen.
Okay.
When Kat comes online. Which may take a minute or two.
When Kat attacks.
I am still writing notes, so nope. Can't hear you. Still can't hear you. I will acknowledge when we can hear you. How about that? So you can just assume we can't until we can. Until I say something.
Yeah, we'll both say something probably along the lines of, "Oh, there you are."
Right, exactly. Something similar. It's all right. So Reddit. So let's talk about some of the places before. While Kat's fixing this, let's you and I talk about some of the places we frequent. I frequent Reddit a lot. I'm all over Reddit.
I am on Twitter a lot.
You've got Twitter covered. Maybe I don't want to do that.
In fact, the whole thing about the Twitter algorithm, that was very fascinating.
Yeah, that is kind of fascinating. Hey, Donald. So Guy and Kayan. You've got Twitter. I've got Reddit. And YouTube. So I actually set up a page today for my how to deal with ADD / driving instruction thing.
What's wrong?
Oh, I think we just lost Kat altogether. Restart. I am starting my driving channel, but I haven't set it all the way up yet. I have my old YouTube channel, which has literally 2 videos on it that haven't had any new videos in 11 years. And I was going to reset that.
Wait, I hear something.
Thank goodness. Okay.
There we are.
Yay!
Okay, yeah. When in doubt, turn it off and on again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me get my screen up here. Here we go.
Hey, look, it's me.
Hey, dude. Hi,
You
Nat.
can totally
Hey,
see
Novi.
that they're different aspect ratios. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting looking at it with different aspect ratios.
I was like,
yeah. Oh. By the way, Guy, you probably didn't know this. This can be a banner, by the way.
this can be a banner.
Yeah, this giant gray mass here, it can be a banner. If you come up to the upper right corner, you'll see update banner, and you can upload a banner.
I will make a banner.
Okay. Oh, let me get the proportions for you really quick because I know you're gonna want them.
I'm gonna want them because you know how it goes with me.
Yep. Let me just grab those really fast. I have it saved like right here in a document in a different screen. Let me grab that really fast. Dun 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 dun. And I'll send that in the chat. I'm sure Kyan, you'll want that too. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Yeah, so it maxes out at 1920 by 267, which I know is a little unusual.
That's fine.
That's our like suggested, like don't make it bigger than. So hi guys. I guess I'm gonna do a little review and audit, you could say, of
audit.
Guy's
no.
Bellatrix. And for the sake of covering my own butt, Guy, do I have permission to show your data and analytics?
You do. You have my
Okay.
absolute permission. I said that last
Okay.
night, but yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure I said it in this one
But
too.
in the same show, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just to cover my own butt, because usually I do these privately for a reason.
Yeah, but we don't learn anything if it's all privately.
Right.
We can't make it like something you can show to other people.
Exactly.
But there's nothing on here that I consider private unless it's like my address or whatever. But I don't even think I've got my address in here.
Yeah, I don't believe that. That's really honestly all we'll be really looking at is just going through like your analytics and dashboard. We're not going to be looking at any like actual like account information, so you don't need to worry about that. So first off, guys, if anyone's unfamiliar, this is Global Comics. Really quick, my name is Kat. I actually work for Global Comics. I work on the community team. And one of the things that I do to help other creators is is to sit down with them for maybe an hour or so and go over analytics, how their work is performing, how, like what sort of marketing strategies they've been doing, and then offer suggestions on ways that they could possibly try to improve. And then we also look at things like retention, page-to-page series retention, and then look for possibly any weak spots within the comic that they could maybe identify and learn from. There's a lot of information that Global Comics offers you in the analytics. And so that's kind of what I aim for, is to sit down with creators and break all of that down. And so that's kind of where we're going to be going over today. If anyone has any questions, feel free to interrupt me, especially you, Guy. If you have a question, give me the question. Like, never, it's your show. And two, like there's the dumbest question is the one that's never asked, right?
Right.
So like, never or don't, like there are no dumb.
I will say, if you click on the Omake one, there's nudity, so we probably can't like flip through the pages there. We should go to Momentary Ghost Part 1.
Okay, good to know.
Flip through pictures.
All right, thank you for the warning. I hadn't got the chance to go through it yet. And you can't anything my account says, because like I'm always opening and closing series.
Right.
So I've read it. It just doesn't think I have, because I went back and started rereading it, and so it just thinks I haven't read it. Right. It's funny. All right, one sec. Let me fix my freaking hair tie. It's on my way. Dumb questions are fine. So there's two ways to get into your own analytics if you have an account on Global Comics. I'm going to show you the first way, which is the easiest way. From any page, find your avatar up here in the upper right-hand corner. Click on this and go down to where it says View Creator Page and then Analytics. And it'll take you to your own dashboard. This is mine, but because I can't go to Guy's dashboard through using this method. So if anyone has an account, that would be how you
That's
get
what mine
there.
looks like. This is what my dashboard looks like right here. Just so you know.
There you
I was
go.
just showing mine.
No,
I
you're good.
meant T.
So the other way to get there, if you don't want to use that method, is I can actually go to the creator account, go to settings, and then analytics. Super easy peasy. It's another way to get there.
So you can like totally check mine out too there. On that
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yep. I can actually access every person's analytics. I can go into any account that I want, basically. Because that's part of being an admin.
Oh, good. Analytics. I found it.
Yep, analytics. Yep. So when you click on settings, you have analytics, and then you have your series here. So you kind of have this sort of like central hub here between these three different options. Well, it's the reason why I have the access as a community person is a lot of times creators will need help with their comics. They'll say, hey, I'm having trouble changing this, or hey, I need help with this account, like I'm having like a glitch here, can you go check it? And so what that allows me to do is allows me to go into those accounts and actually make sure everything is proper and correct. And sometimes I can help make changes.
Hi, I accidentally deleted my entire archive. Can you help me download it?
Right.
don't
Oh, that's
know
right.
who's
Yeah, I helped you with
here.
that.
I also think that
Mhm.
Donald and Brent are razzing you. I think
that's okay.
you.
I was actually able to go into Kind's account and get his stuff for him. So
Yeah.
there's benefits to that. So your dashboard is your last 30 days of data. And you've had a pretty awesome last 30 days. So check that out. You've had a lot of views in the last 30 days. Revenue, since I don't believe you have anything for sale, will be not relevant to you at the moment. And I don't believe you have donations enabled either.
No, I don't.
then-
I don't even know we can donate.
Yeah, you can set up donations. Yep.
Wow. I should probably set that up.
Yep. You can find that in your settings. So if you click, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to show you information. If you click on settings and then scroll, look down on the left-hand side, you'll see a section that says donations. And you'll be able to click on that and turn on donations. I'll show you. I'll show you on mine. So settings.
I see this. So I
Yep.
can enable the donations program.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
Donation settings. Yep, you can turn that on. You can also set up a goal if you want to. And then if you want to use what's called Superfan access, Superfan is sort of like it's almost like a Patreon in the sense that people donate to you. You can choose to offer early access to those who donate to you. It's completely optional. So I use it for that. I have it disabled here, but that's just the default. I can turn it on individual releases as well if I want.
Right. Well, I've set up. So do I need to do a monthly supporter goal?
No.
Okay. It says if we set it greater than 0, we will display a progress bar. So if I don't, then it.
Mhm.
So I haven't done any of this yet. So I'm now
That's okay.
setting this up right now. So
No
so
worries.
that's
That's what this is for. That's literally
Yeah, I
what
love
this
this.
is for.
This is great.
Mhm.
What do we think, Brent, Donald, Minty? Do we think I should set up a super fan early access, like 3 days or 4 days for super fans?
I think so.
I think
Me?
so. Too.
No, I will not be at Wicked West. Unfortunately, I live in Tennessee, and so any sort of like travel out west is a lot of money for me.
Yeah, but Kat used to be part of our Red Team Go crew
Mhm.
and part of our Fort Collins crew. So like we're
Yep.
buddies IRL.
Yeah.
I like saying that. So we are IRL buddies. Okay, so what do we think? Should we do like 3 days early access? What do you think? Okay, that sounds fair. Can you connect the superfan to your Patreon?
No,
that's
not at the
question.
not at the moment.
Okay,
That's-
I have enabled donations.
Okay.
Revenue splitting. What does that mean?
That would be so like if you had another creator work with you on a comic, you can actually direct that revenue towards that person if they have a creator account on Global Comics.
Oh.
And the revenue will be split automatically and you won't have to manually do it yourself.
Oh, okay. Pending income and then payouts and revenue. Do I just connect at some point in time, like my PayPal to this, or what?
Yeah, so I'll actually show you using mine. So with payout settings, you can either choose PayPal or bank or card. And then when you go into payouts and revenue, you can actually see how much of so you can see how much of it is pending income. And if you click on it, it'll actually show you like what specifically where that income is coming from.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing, confirmed income. I can see like where it all came from. I sold quite a few digital versions of God's Bane. And then it'll also show you your payout history, and you can get invoices for taxes.
Nice.
Right? All that good stuff.
Because we'll need that.
Yep, that's how all that fun stuff works.
And then subscription is for you guys. So subscribing to.
Yeah, so like
I
what
haven't gotten there
subscriptions do I have? Yeah. I pay for subscription anyway, even though I don't technically need to, because I want to be sure that comics that I read that are paid, they get paid. So I pay for it anyway. Even though I don't have to. I bought a second one just because I could.
Oh, so I could like totally sell these.
Here's the really cool part though. So like let me
I'm clicking buttons and like you're like, yeah, guy, get back onto plot. Get back on the
it's fun. Like it's cool to like actually see, you know, like looking through all this stuff. PDF sales too. Like if I wanted to, I could set everything up for PDFs, you know, and sales and stuff. Like you can do all that here. You can create bundles, you know, so like here I have a bundle pack that has Onami and God's Bane in it. You know, so you can buy them both at the same time and like get it cheaper than buying them individually. That kind of cool stuff. So like all kinds of really good features for Global Comics. You know, set up like special discounts, and then if you want to offer, say like I trust you guys with this. Like you can see like promo codes. So like if you want to get something cheaper, or you want to do like a free PDF or whatever.
I was gonna say, are you putting codes up there that you're like we shouldn't be like showing? Okay.
I really don't care. These are just these discounts you can't do anything with. My discount codes, yeah, but they're gonna be deleted here really soon. They were done for making us tests while I was creating a how-to article, so they don't actually work. No, they're just duds. But yeah, so like this is kind of all the cool stuff that you can do. More in regards to like
conventions in here.
So conventions. So we're looking at creating a convention system to sort of help like let people let readers know, hey, this creator is going to be at this convention. It's a beta feature we're working on.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that's all I can really say about that. But it is a future tool that we're working on. That we're kind of like
you can't click on anything because I would happily convention.
Yeah, yeah, that's
and also
it's a work in progress.
So I don't know if you've noticed our past couple of streams, but we've actually started to collect the data of all the conventions for Colorado so that we could start talking about, hey, let's have a calendar so that next year we can sign up for things.
Right.
Know when you're supposed to sign up for stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, usually the dates are pretty close together every year. You know, as long as there's no like major changes. Looking at you, MegaCon.
Yeah.
But not to mention MegaCon and C2E2. What the heck? Come on, guys.
Right.
But on the more serious side, we were really starting to think about conventions again. So having a thing where it's like, hey, come see me at this convention and have a calendar linked to the comics so that people can go, hey, that's a great thing. I like it.
Yeah, that's something similar to what we're sort of hoping we can have in the future. I think that would be a really, really great tool. So I'll definitely forward that along. I feel like that would be a really good use of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. Like knowing which ones would be local or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, posts. It says posts. I probably should like post stuff at some point. Hey, look, I'm following Art Crumbs. Weird. and heavy metal, because heavy metal's awesome. So, all right. Did I lose
Okay,
you?
cool. No, I'm just sorry. Like I had a community, I had a global comics thing I had to reply to.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, occasion that may happen. My job never ends.
Hey,
It's
look,
always
comics
going.
my buddies made. How does it know that you're my buddies?
The what? Or what do you mean? How does it know?
It says comics I read and then comics my buddies made. Oh, maybe I made that list.
Yeah,
that must be what I
probably.
did.
Yeah, if there's a yes, you have I'll show you lists. So one of the things that I like is, you know, if you go into lists, you can have like a whole you can have like a whole bunch of them. Sorry, I have like a list.
That must be what it is.
Yeah, and I have like my own personal reading list right here. My own personal reading list. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Which is cool.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I was messing with stuff and then like screwed stuff up and then stuff. So there's that. I didn't screw anything up. I was clicking on buttons and then like, okay. So Reddit promotion. Okay, so we need to talk a little bit about some of that stuff too. Like, for example, you and I were talking sort of as an offhand about the give 10, take 1 rule.
Yeah.
Or give 5, take 1. Or
yeah, what I usually do, so I'm just want to clarify what I usually do is I usually go through someone's analytics first, see how things are progressing now, and then talk about what they're doing. I don't care what you want to do. I just want to be sure that we get to everything tonight. So
no, it's all good. That's good. That's good.
If you know, like I don't mind what we talk about first. I don't care. I just want to make sure that that's where we're going with this, right? Because I want to be sure like we can get to everything because there's a lot to get to. So if you want to talk about Reddit,
I'm on the dashboard. Yeah.
No,
why is it your number is different than mine?
It might be that mine's just updated more. Is yours higher? I can't see.
Yeah, mine's higher.
Then I probably need to refresh. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, hey, look,
but yeah, anyway, so yeah, if you want to talk about what your strategies are first, that's perfectly fine. I just want to be sure that that's where we were going.
Let's go through the analytics here. Let's do this step by step.
Yeah, let's do this. I'm totally cool with it, bud. Don't worry.
Okay,
about
sorry.
it.
I don't want to be like a stick in the mud or anything.
And it's the middle of the night.
No. You're good. It's
fine.
Yeah. There's just usually a reason I have that flow. But no, like I said, if that's what you wanted to talk about, I'd be okay to talk about that.
No.
So
keep to the thread.
Okay. So there's two main sections in your alerts you're going to want to focus on, which is the page reads and then the releases data. We'll look at the page reads first. You had a lot of activity today and, currently going into the morning. So you can see it's already collecting data for the 6th. So we would love to figure out where they're coming from. But first, before we get there, let's focus on how this graph works. Let me zoom in just a teeny bit for you guys' sake. So basically the way that this works, you can filter by comic name if you have more than one. I have 4 and it'll refresh every single time. We can even feature by individual release if we want. And then we can viewer modes, let you know single page mode, double page mode, vertical list.
Oh, this one is back and rereading Momentary Ghosts as well. That's interesting.
Oh, there's a reason for that. I'll let you know why. Well, I know why it's doing well. But vertical list. So what's important is even if your comic is listed or manga is listed as page-to-page format, if the reader is on a mobile device, the default will be vertical reading, vertical scrolling. Now in the app, it'll be whatever you set it to be. So once the app is launched, for example, like on tablet mode, I can still read things in landscape and 2-page format if I want. But like on a phone device, it would be switched over, unless they're in the app, it would be switched over to vertical for the default.
Fair.
Otherwise, when you're on like a desktop or a laptop, it's in single page mode unless the screen is wide enough to support double page mode, and then it'll automatically switch into double page mode unless you've intentionally put it into single page mode. So there's a couple that's why we have all these different modes, is there's a couple different ways readers can engage with your comic.
Yeah.
And readers have the ability to choose. Like if they're on the desktop and they'd rather read it in vertical scrolling mode, they can choose to put it in vertical scrolling mode. So that's why these are really important or really fun to look at, is it lets you know how readers are actually engaging with your comic, and just could be insightful. And then we have, of course, time frame and interval. Time frame is the overall length of time, and the interval, we all know intervals are.
That's interesting.
So right now we're looking at daily, only the last month. Let's go back a little bit further. Let's go back about 6 months. And we'll see. You've had a really, really good couple days, 2 days. So now this is a lot. We want to see just feeds. Guess what? You can turn all of these off. So if I click on these individual aspects here, the text, it'll turn everything else off. And it's kind of hard to see everything daily. So why don't we why don't we set it to monthly, and we'll get an average. We'll get a total for each month.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm doing better than I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
All of
and
a sudden.
I know why. All right, so this is basically how this works. And same thing, we can turn this off if we want to see just the page reads. We can turn all of this off.
You're gonna wait till the end of the show to tell me why. I can tell.
No, I'll get to in just a second. I promise.
I know,
Just
I
a second. But so this is so you've had 3,375 reads and 250 unique readers. So you've had at least 10 pages per reader. How many total pages do you have?
26 on this. Well, between two of them,
Between the two.
60.
Okay, that's not too bad considering you just added the second one.
Yeah.
So if we scroll down into our acquisition sources, this is basically your traffic. So all of these, medium, source, campaign, or term, these are items that you can add to links that we track, and even by default they're automatically tracked for creators to have access to see where their readership is actually coming from. Every single reader or user that enters Global Comics through a link, we know where they're coming from,
right.
Or we can at least guess where they're coming. So if we look at your top source for the last 6 months, check this out.
It's Reddit.
Yep, Reddit. So here's how you want to decipher all of these. If you see these and you see GC at the beginning, that means Global Comics posted it.
You guys did it.
Yep. And then usually you'll see the name, the date, and then where it was posted. So you were shared in r/science fiction earlier today. That was pure coincidence. I did not pick that. That was not me. This was planned earlier in the week. And he didn't know that I was going to sit with you.
Right. No, that's cool.
So that was complete coincidence, but I did suggest a couple weeks ago that you should be featured.
Aw.
Yep, and it looks like you've also been featured a couple times in the past. You were also featured September 29th. I had to do math right there. September 29th of last year in the same subreddit. Yep. You didn't do as well that time. This time, however, you really took off. This is fantastic. This is literally fantastic. I've never had a Reddit post do that well of my own. I've never had one do that well.
That was r/science fiction.
Yep.
David.
Mm-hmm.
It's because boobies. I've got boobies. That's why.
Actually, we linked to the first page. When we share a link, we always link to the very first page. So that's why they're reading the beginning. Interesting, right? Something else I do want to point out is if you see a comic of a different name, for example, John Carpenter's Tales of Science Fiction, what that means is that someone entered the website in that particular set through John Carpenter's Tales of Science Fiction and ended up finding your series. And that's important because that means you share psychographics or demographics.
Right.
So it might be interesting to check that series out, see how it's marketed, see where it's being posted, because you have audience overlap. So it might be something worth checking out.
Right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The tiger's tongue.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cavity and Delivery are some other comics as well.
Right. Code Dystopia.
Mm-hmm.
That makes some
Yep.
sense too. I mean, because they do sort of. I'm not necessarily dystopian, but sort of dystopian, so that makes sense. Oh, okay. Wow, I've done really good. This hit to Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably go out there and see what they're saying.
Yeah, and honestly, people like I find that Redditors love it when a creator posts. It's always like, "Oh my gosh, you're the creator. Let me ask you questions," or and then they'll like start giving you feedback. Like it's really nice, honestly. Usually we see we usually posts do better when the creator finds it and goes to comments. And you're still getting getting reads. So like you be up from 3375. You were not at 3375 a minute ago.
Now I'm at 4404. Yeah. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yes.
I'm getting ground 4455.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so you are taking off. Congratulations.
Live on stream, my comic is taking off.
Isn't that fantastic?
Watch.
So yeah, this is a really fun way to actually, and you can change all of this too. If you want to look at just the last week, you can do that as well. We can see where all your reads from the. Oh, let's change this to that's 1 week, and let's change this to daily, just for the lulz.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking at now too.
Yeah,
So
you can see all of this.
Moving into today.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's because today is moving slowly through the day.
Yeah, so it's because of the GMT thing. It's the GMT thing. And so some there's a little bit of overlap, a little bit. One thing I do want to point out is the difference between visits and unique readers. So unique readers are like individual users and IPs that we've identified that have read or interacted with the content. And then visits. So unique readers only counts the same person once.
Mm-hmm.
Visit will count them more than once. And so having more visits than readers is good because that means people came back. So having
76 unique and 85 visits. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So people. So
today was 150 for both.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So basically, just looking at today, you've had 80. Well, going into today, you've had 85 visits and 76 readers. So that means you've had a couple people come back. So they may have bookmarked it and said, "Oh, I'll read it later," or "Oh, I'll finish it later," and then they came back. So
yay!
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's fantastic. That's great. You're actually getting people that want to come back and come see more. So that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yay! Look at me moving.
Yep. And so there's one other aspect I'd like to look at. We can also filter this by release. So if we want to look at just how the first one's performing, we can do that too. It's really fun to sort of separate these out and see how they compare against each other. So
right.
You're doing really great, guys. So now the real test, where is your page retention? So
right.
So now we're going to look at is releases. And the release data shows us how the individual comics pages themselves are performing against each other. So we have nice. So
that's
kind
of wild.
Yeah, so we have two sections here. We have this green line, which is the average read time in seconds. It will always be seconds. Mine's kind of funny to look at because some people have been looking at my page for multiple minutes. So some of my seconds are in the hundreds. So it's a little silly to look at. But know that this line will always be seconds. And if we want to, we can temporarily turn that off. We can look at just the page reads. But what I actually would like to point out is for the most part, Guy, you have a really consistent read time, which is good. That's good. That means your pages are flowing really well. Up here in this area, we have a higher page read or higher time count. So you'd be curious to know if between pages 9 and 15, if there's maybe a lot of unusual text, more panels than normal.
Well, that's actually what I just did was bring up the comic. So I could see what's going on.
Yeah. So
9's taking a long time.
Yeah. So 9 has a spike, and so does 14.
So I wonder. So real quickly for those, I'll switch over. This is page 9, which is with Bennett.
So it's about 50. So both of those, 50 and 14, are over 50 seconds. It could just be that there's a little bit more text there than normal.
There's a lot of text here. It's pretty dense.
Mm-hmm. And so what about
The
page
next-
14?
Let's look at 14. Yeah.
Yep. More
Looks like
text.
we've got lots more of
Mhm.
well, and we've got technobabble. In fact, this entire page is technobabble.
So that might be
So-
slowing readers down, which isn't
Yeah.
necessarily a bad thing. It's just a
No.
lot. Good night, Donald. Thanks for coming.
Good night, Donald.
So that's kind of it. Oh, page 21 also has a little bit of a spike. There's a little bit.
Let's look at page 21 and see where we are. Let's not see where we are. Yeah, little
paragraphs.
more technobabble. Yeah, there's technobabble here. That's what's slowing everybody down. Is
Mhm.
technobabble, which isn't
So-
the problem. I'm a Star
No.
Trek-esque comic, so that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. So that's not really an issue. They're just taking their time to read through everything, which is great. Like, one thing that I'm going to point out is your commitments page happens a lot sooner than mine, which one is fantastic, but it also happens at the right time. So
Right.
in manga, one of the things that like manga editors like at Jump have said is usually most creators for manga tend to commit about pages like 5 to 10. If it's like you don't want to see the commitment page after 10. And what do they mean by commitment? When your page to page, meaning how many people read page 1 and then versus how many people read page 2 versus how many people of page 2 read page 2, page 3 read page 4. That level, you want that to get as high as possible. So when you say leveling off, that's your commitment. You want that to happen rough between pages 5 and 10. You don't want it to happen later than that, ideally.
Right.
Any chapter. Because if it happens too late, then the readers aren't committing to your story.
Mhm.
So that level, which I consider usually about above 90%. I mean, that happens pretty quickly. That happens right about here between pages 7 and 10, right where it should. About right where it should. So that's great. So one thing to take note of is depending, guy, when you share your comic, which page are you sharing the link to? Are you sharing it to the series homepage, or are you sharing it to the first page of the actual reading experience?
Probably not the right one.
Well, which one are you? Well, then I'll tell you what
Like-
you should be doing. So what we usually
Okay.
recommend, and there's two options here, and I'm kind of experimenting with this myself because I want to see what the difference is. What we usually recommend is that we share the first page of the reading experience. So 1:1, like in your URL when it says 1/1, that's the page you want to share. The
Okay.
reason is it's basic UI. The more clicks you put between the reader and the content, the less likely they are to click
That's fair.
and actually get to the content, right? And so by linking directly to the reading experience, you eliminate some of those barriers. Some people are going to want to actually read the description and stuff, so they may click out and then click back in, so you may get two visitors in that sense. But the reason why I mentioned that is usually if you see a 20 to 30% drop from your first page, which is usually covers, to the next page, that's okay. Even Shonen Jump has said that they have a 20 to 30% drop just from the cover to page 2.
Right.
And that's because people will open it, they may back out, they may decide, oh, this isn't, yeah, this is, huh?
I just wanted to say hello to Optic Sphinx.
Oh, hi Optics, hello. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, so they may open it and then bookmark it, or they may open it and go, oh, maybe I don't want to read this, or oh, I don't have time to read this right now, but I'll come back to it. So there's a lot of reasons why like the first page and then like the next 2 or 3 pages afterwards could see like a really large difference. It's stuff like that.
Right.
So don't sweat this. This is just cover to this. This is doing a lot better than most people. Yours is only a 25% and a 25% drop, so you're doing pretty good.
Nice.
You're right in that average of 20 to 30%, so you're doing great. And
yeah,
then
actually, if you switch to the Omake, it's actually markedly less of a fall.
Yeah, let's check it.
Like, very interesting.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. This is a fantastic retention. So I ask you guys because I'm curious what you guys think. and Guy, you might already know this. What is the average retention in comics manga as a whole? What is the retention cover to cover? Like from the first page of a chapter to the last page. What's the rate?
I don't know this, so actually I'll let Kiana answer.
Do you want to hazard a guess? If you listen to me speak about this, you've probably heard me say it.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like something shocking, like 90?
Shockingly low, yeah.
Yeah. 90% failure or whatever. We lose like 93% of them.
Not that much. So about 20% of people will finish a cover. Yeah, less than 30%. About 20 to 30%. If you can hit between 20 and 30%, you're doing fantastic. You're doing great. That's pretty average.
15 of my 32, so 50%.
That's
made it all
amazing.
The way to
That's wonderful. You're doing great.
yeah,
that's great. That's wonderful. Lose in manga, what they actually look for, like in Shonen Jump, they have an unreasonably high expectation, as I'm sure we could imagine. What their good retention, which is they look at the page to page ratio as far as like how many, like what is the percent retention between pages, not necessarily the whole series. Their page to page retention, once you hit that commit level, what they consider like needs improvement but good is 99.6%. 99.6%. I'm just happy to reach 90.
right.
And I do, but like I'm just happy to reach 90. What I actually do, I'll actually just for the laughs, I'll show you this.
What's funny, David, is like I was looking at this and it looks like I lose 3 readers at page 7. So I was going to look at what page 7 was, and it's like this is where the 2 characters where Chang is just being a jerk, and I'm like, I guess people just don't like her being a pain in the butt, naked or not. Like, they don't seem to like her being a pain.
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna try not to. Come on, mouse. I don't think it likes Discord being open. Discord is so heavy on my computer for some reason. There it goes. Yeah, it's better now. It didn't like that Discord was open. Where did my mouse go? There it is. It didn't like the Discord was open. It was giving me a hard time. Okay, so I take this one step further because I can.
right.
And
wow, look at that.
It's because I have formulas. That's why it doesn't like it. It's being because I've got some formulas in here. So what I do, it's bogging it down a little bit. What I do is I track my page to page retention individually. So then this is from old data. This is from the 17th. So I had at the bottom, I've got my averages here. On the 17th, I was averaging 97% retention rate as far as per like page to page. My overall series retention was 31%. And I've been messing around and making some changes.
So where do you see the retention number? Where's the retention number?
You have to do that yourself.
Okay.
I'll tell you how I get that number though. So looking at your analytics, the way that I would do this, if I were for my series, is I skip the cover because that always has that's not a reliable number to use. So what I do is I usually look at page 2, and then I look at the last page. So 37 versus 152. So that's about a fifth. So you're at 20%, which is normal, average. Congrats, you're doing great.
So, but you were talking about the 90%, and that's
so that's page to page. So what you would need to do is you would need to get the percentage. So basically, what I would do is 146 divided by 152. Or is it the bigger number divided by this bigger number. 152 divided by 140 times 100. There's your percent. Cross multiplication.
For each page?
Yeah, that's what I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just manually, what I do is I open up my analytics. I manually import my numbers. And then it'll calculate all of these for me. And then it also gives me an average. You can see I've got my handy dandy formula up here.
Hi,
Merrick.
Merrick.
Bro.
Hi, Merrick.
It's been a long
But yeah,
time.
so I have it. Yeah, I don't think I've met Merrick yet.
No,
but
it's
yeah.
been a while, which is all right.
But yeah, so that's basically as I have it calculate my page-to-page, my average page-to-page retention, and then my individual page-to-page retention. And then I have it also calculate like the actual retention, like page to page as well, looking at the second page and the last page. And then because I'm extra like that and I love math, I actually calculate how well individual reads, like the viewer modes, are doing, because I want to know where most of my reads are coming from.
Right.
It's important for me to know that. That I know how people are engaging with my stuff.
I absolutely despise math. And so I'm like, I will probably do this whenever somebody says, what's your page retention? Page to page. I'll be like, I'll go do the math real quick.
One thing I do want to look at, though, is how your retention over the last week has been, because most of your reads have come from the last 2 days.
Right.
So if we look at your retention here, it's about this. Most of them have been. Okay, so it's about the same. Let's look at your overall retention. So let's go back 6 months, like get more data. Let's see how you've done over then. So, a little bit more.
Over a year's time, though, this actually still looks pretty much the same. It's still 9 and 10 that are causing the 70-second read time.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's something to think about, is those pages are taking longer. Something else that I see here is pages 4 5, you have the biggest drop outside. So something on page 4 is like, if someone's to leave your comic, it's on page 4.
Right.
So the question would be why? Like, what's on that page that's causing that? And I'm going to throw myself on the sword a little bit, and I'll show you mine. Cry. So I've been messing with my comic the last month. I've been purposely changing things because I'm doing an article on this later, and experimenting. And while I've done pretty well the last month, my release data is sad.
Okay.
I have like a 10% retention rate right now.
Wow, what happened on that one page?
Right?
Like,
you have one page that doesn't even exist. Nobody's reading it.
That's a new page. It's a new page that I added. Yeah. Trying to fix things. And I made it worse. But see, here's the funny part. If I look at my individual page, for the most part, it's above 90%, right? But if I look at my overall cover-to-cover retention, awful. Like, it's at 137, the lowest page here, 14. That's 10%, almost.
Right. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
That's for the last month. So let me look at it's the last month I've been messing with things. If I look at just the last week, ouch. Because I've been messing with.
There is a huge drop between, was it right 20 and 21?
Yep, there's a big drop there, and there's a big drop here. So I sort of have a big drop right here, and then I level off, and then I have another drop, and then I level off, and then a little bit of a drop. So what's interesting is between these pages right here, this is why I wanted to show you mine, is I have a little bit more data. With these pages, what's happening is there's a shift in right? So I go from the future, right? Like, it starts off fight scene between Aros and Modri, like a protagonist hero, and then it goes back in time to the present moment. Like, that moment, right, people drop off when that switches. And so I guess people don't like that. If I could keep people here, I'd still have a pretty good retention rate. But interestingly enough, the page that I lose people on, actually page 15, I just changed stuff around. So let me actually see what page that is. I just moved a bunch of stuff around because I put it all back.
This is freaking fascinating. This is real. I mean, like, this is nothing I've even thought of, and this is like the feedback that I can see here.
So page 15 is where the guy gets an arrow to the face.
Do what?
Page 15 is where a guy gets an arrow to the head.
Oh,
That's probably why
People
they're
are like,
leaving. Is it's violent. I haven't marked as such, but yeah. So if you look here at my data, page 15, 14, 15, that's where it happens. And so there's a drop here, and then it keeps dropping. And
how
then
do
it
you
levels.
get more page reads on after that though? That doesn't seem logical.
People could be leaving, and that's where they've left off. So when you leave a series on Global Comics, and then you click on it again later, it'll pick up where you left off. So that might count as like a page or a double page. You know, like it basically just adds another counter to it. So that's a high possibility that people are leaving and then coming back on these pages. And same thing here. I don't know how this happens.
Like mine is like really clean compared to
It's
yours.
bonus art. Like these last few pages are bonus art, so it could be people coming back to look at the bonus art.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to show my data.
Yeah.
Because it varies a lot more than yours.
That's fascinating.
But I have a lot of you can see my commitment point, right? Because here at page 22 it levels off.
Right.
It's pretty consistent to the end, which is not where I want it to be. But if we look at like the last, let's say, my old data, actually, I might still have it document. Let me bring up my old data. Let me see, because when you merge, I've merged releases. When you merge data, I can look at Onami. Look at Onami. So Onami was the manga that I made in 2020. I have a lot of data on this one. Got like 2 years worth, at least 2.5 years worth of data. So lots of data I can use on this one. These were pages that were initially at the beginning, and them to the end. So that's why you have a really high. But this is the last 2 years. So for the most part, I had a pretty high commitment rate, commitment point where it was pretty much consistent, like 95 something % on every single page. Right about here is where you hit like the 99s and the really high 90s. It's about page 20. So that's too late, personally. But that was like a really good educational thing for me. And also I had too much talking here at the beginning, and it slowed a lot of people down. And right here is where it leveled out. Like people were consistent. I hit a good stride. I was really steady with my pages and terms of how much dialogue and my pacing and my paneling. Like that's where I hit my sweet spot. So what I did is I tried to find my sweet spot in my previous manga, combined with all the feedback that I got to help me make the next one. And so that's why we offer this data, is it gives you feedback, not just what people tell you, but how people are actually interacting with your comic.
This is amazing. This is like really amazing information.
Yeah, and looking back at yours, you hit this really nice, consistent, steady point pretty early on, and then you have some text, some pages that have a lot of text or a lot of, you said, jargon, and then it levels out again. And honestly, it really doesn't vary that much. Like between like 10 to 30 seconds, that's really not varying that much. Right. So that's good.
It just shows that the technobabble is technobabbling.
Right. And in Komawati,
in the Star Trek clone story.
Yeah. Yeah. And Komawati, you actually want to have that varied a little bit. You want to have fast pages. You want to have slow pages. Having something too steady is not good. So you do want to have a little bit of variation. So having some variation is good. Otherwise, too steady, it could feel slow. But you do want you want there to be some to goodness. Having so much variation could be good, it could be bad. It just really depends on your story. And then in addition, all of the acquisition sources that you get in page read data, you also get here. So you can see it on both sides. Did you have any questions, Guy? Or I know I just dropped like a lot of information on your plate. Did you guys have any questions?
Not right off. I mean, yes, I do. I just haven't thought them all through yet. Like one,
we're digesting right now,
right? Like this is
it's a lot.
So much information, but it's really useful. Like super useful. It's fascinating also looking at like both of them combined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's look at looking at the next one. It like this one's performing fantastically. This is amazing. And what we've also noticed is like fatigue is a thing. Like readers tend to fatigue after like something is so long. Like what that amount is yet we haven't really figured out. That's something that I would really love to do, is to do that research to see like in terms of books that are X length, like is there like an average drop off point? But it's hard because a lot of those longer graphic novels have paywalls. And when you look at a paywalled comic, it's very easy to see where the paywall is.
Right.
in the analytics, it's very easy to see where it is. So
yeah, that makes some sense.
Yeah.
This is fascinating because like I'm looking at all of these things and it's like, yeah, and the Omake is doing pretty well, which is kind of bizarre. Would not have expected that, but okay. I think
people like it.
Interesting that why won't it go to all? It doesn't go to all.
No, not because you can't look at all releases together as an average. You have to look at them only individually.
But then why is it an option?
I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. I'll let Chris know.
These are things that it's like a given. I'm going to click the thing if it lets me.
Here's the really fun thing. So looking at your very first release, let's look at just how vertical reads are. And let's look at just your vertical reads retention. So 95 versus 26. That's about 25%.
Yeah, go look at the Omake. The Omake is much, much better. Because like it's
I bet it's almost straight across.
It's on vertical reads. It's 13 to 8.
That's even better than overall.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's look at single page. This is pretty good too. This is a little bit less thirsty here. You've got a weird double linear here. So it's not as good retention wise. That's normal for single page. We've noticed those tend to have much better retention. Vertical readers tend to read more pages overall.
Because you can slide.
Yeah, because you can slide. Yeah, it's a little bit navigation is a little bit easier, right? So we have noticed that. However, I highly discourage people to make things vertical just because. Because
no matter what, my comic will always have a physical print. So it's I won't make them vertical for vertical's sake. It would make the actual print weird. So
yeah, and your double retention is pretty good too. Just as a percentage wise, it looks pretty good. Let's look at your first release though. I'm curious to see how single goes against vertical. So let's look at single. Ooh, interesting. So 100 versus 22. So about a 20% retention. For a single page on your first release.
Yeah, single page, yeah. Better on the Omake.
Your vertical actually has a typical better retention. 95 versus 25, 26. So better retention.
Yeah.
So same thing. Yeah, same thing with mine. So that's actually very, very typical. Let me show you. Like I have the same. I wouldn't call it a problem, but I have the same. My single page retention is abysmal.
What happened?
People just aren't liking it. People aren't saying right now. My retention used to be like in the 30s, and lately people aren't liking it. I think that's because the Reddit subreddits I've been sharing it in have not taken it very well. I've actually had it deleted a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, Reddit's even for me. Reddit is hit or miss. When it hits, as you are clearly seeing. When it misses, it misses. But if I look at vertical, it's a little bit better. It's a lot better. 70 versus looking at the lowest one here, 8. So about 10%.
Right.
A little bit better than 10%. But more like 12. But yeah, so it's interesting. But like my retention before I merged was an average of about like 45%. And so seeing these numbers is breaking my heart, but that's okay. Like, I'm obviously not marketing it to the right people. That's just that's just the way that it is, honestly.
Yeah.
So that means that I need to change who I'm marketing it to. The other thing is, remember, the last couple weeks I've changed it a lot. That's why in my analytics data you saw 3 sections, is because every week I was making a major change. I was reordering pages. I was moving them around. I was trying different things. And the reason why my data doesn't look like it's been moved around is because I just re-uploaded actually, when you go into a series, you can actually change the page. So say like I want to switch this page out with a different page.
Right.
I can click on this, go to image asset, and then hit browse, and then upload my new page. And that's what I was doing.
I noticed I could swap out pages because that was actually useful for a couple of like really screwed up things.
And that's basically what I did, is I actually just re-uploaded them in a different order by changing the pages, which was a pain in the butt, let me tell you. But that was the best way that I could see how the data actually changed as I was making those changes. And now I have to I have to work on getting my retention points back. I've thought about just like deleting them all and then just re-uploading fresh. Like get like fresh brand new data, but I don't want to do that because then I'd reset everything back to 0. And that would be sad. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it just so that I can have a fresh release. I'm gonna ask what my what Chris recommends though. But yeah, so that's why this information is kind of fun. Kind of fun to play with and oh, I mean, my ears. Yeah. So I hope that was interesting information for you.
That is really fascinating.
Yeah. So now we need to talk about promotion. Unless you guys have questions. Questions first.
No, well, not yet. I just find it interesting that I'm looking at this and like okay. So now a question about panel reads. How is it determining panel reads?
So do you have your interactive reading turned on? Like you have like you set up all your frames?
That's why I'm looking at panel reads here, and I'm like, well, now wait a minute. And the reason I say that is because the Omake has panel reads, but Bellatrix 1 doesn't.
So the panel reads, what it's looking at is it's looking at the individual time a panel was read, and it just adds them all together. So because you have interactive reading mode turned on for Omake, it's counting all of those individual panel reads and the page reads.
Oh, okay. So that shouldn't be any. I mean, that's not significant. The spike isn't.
No, not
Omake
really.
has a bunch of panels in it now.
Yeah, and you can turn that off if you if it's bothering you to have that on there, you can always turn that off. When you're looking at your graphs, you can only have on like what you want. So you can see how things compare.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at now. Is I'm like, that's fascinating to this whole thing. Like looking at just like say visits and unique readers.
Yeah.
Right, because that's interesting too, because there's 150 unique readers. That's a lot of unique readers.
Yeah, a lot of that's there's no duplicates in there, so those are unique people that are looking at your stuff. Yay! You need to post more on Reddit, guy.
I know, right? Well, so that actually is the question that I've got, which is clearly you guys posted for me. Thank you very much. Should I post again, or what's the story?
So every subreddit is different. Every subreddit has different rules as far as self-promotion is concerned, and has a different culture in regards to self-promotion. So I have here it is. Let me grab this link, and if you want to share it, you can copy the link. I'll throw this in the private chat here for you. This article is an article that I wrote with a creator named Mousy Lou. She creates a series called Lost Souls in Global Comics. And she has obtained over now, 600,000 reads in the last couple months using Reddit. She is a Reddit boss. I wish I was as good as she was. And so we sat down and we worked together, sort of explaining what Reddit is, how it works, and then offering advice on actually creating Reddit postings, how to find an audience. And this is important because we have demographics and we have psychographics. And so what I actually did is in this article, let me bring this up, called Finding Your Audience, I actually walk the reader through how to identify possible demographics, possible psychographics, which are different. You need to know both. Sort of a step-by-step process to start identifying what type of people might be interested in your comic. And in the end, through this whole process, what you get is you get a list of genres, a demographic. If you have a manga, this demographic is important. And I will say this once: shonen, seinen are not genres. They're demographics.
Yeah.
Matter because demographics tell a rough target audience. Now, there are primary demographics, and then there are other demographics. Your primary demographic, your primary audience is going to be important, but you can always have more than one audience. Anime is a perfect example. The primary audience for things like One Piece and Dragon Ball Z are boys ages 12 to 15, 12 to 17 is the primary audience. But lots of people outside of that also enjoy it. And so having more than one audience is fine, but you want to focus on your target audience. Everyone is not an audience. Do not use everyone as an audience. I will haunt your dreams. Right. Please don't do it. And then something else to consider.
Okay, Kat, I have decided to get everybody as my audience. And that's when she murdered me.
In your sleep. You're going to make me a poltergeist one of these days. One thing that's really fun to consider is what tools are you using? What my most favorite subreddit to post in is Clip Studio, because one, I'm a Clip Studio partner as well. And so I love helping people there. This is what I do. But I also like to just post art and be like, here's what I made in Clip Studio today. What do you guys think? And so figuring places as like that are also relevant to you, just like, hey, read my comic. Places where you can hang out that might be related to your comic are great because they can double as places where you're actually active, actually engaged. And then be like, hey, by the way, here's my stuff. Like there's a ton of different ways to promote on Reddit. And the one that always works best for me is when I post, hey, here's my favorite page. Like, here's my favorite page of my newest update. Or here's a page I'm working on. And people always go, whoa, what manga is that from? And I'm like, oh, it's funny you ask.
Right. It looks like right now I'm the top post this is the top post on science fiction right now.
Nice.
r/.
Nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, I've been getting notifications about it all day. Congratulations, you've reached X number of upvotes. Congratulations, you've reached X number of upvotes. And I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect timing. Like, I was sitting here sweating it because I thought you were going to go, oh my god, Kate, this on purpose. And I'm like, no, how it lined up that I ended up posting it today.
Oh no, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, like I had no idea it was going to be posted today, and then this morning when I did my self promo or my promotional rounds, I was like, oh my god, Kevin's gonna laugh about this. Kevin's our head of community. He picks all the. And so he just happened to pick it and just happened to give it to me, and I was like, oh my god, who's punking me right now?
That's awesome.
It's funny. Anyway,
I mean, like I'm looking at this and I'm just like really appreciating it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like so anyway, like what I do in this article is I break down what genres could Godsbane belong in, what themes or tropes are inside the manga that I could possibly use to help find my audience, and then what are similar titles to Godsbane or stuff that people might like that also like Godsbane, just similar stuff like this. And then I can use this data to go looking for subreddits that have these topics these niche topics. Do you know how many world building subreddits there are?
Yep.
Do you
I actually
fantasy
was thinking
subreddits
that
there
too.
are? There's a lot.
That was actually something I was thinking of. There's a world building subreddit that I belong to right now, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm not posting. Like I was
Right?
saying to Han just before we started the show, I was like, I don't know why I'm not I've got probably a year's worth of stuff to talk about on the world building forum.
Yeah,
You know
like
what I mean?
just yeah, my one piece of advice, and this is the golden key here, always checks off promo rules. It like there are some mods that will ban you on your first offense. There are some mods that will give you warnings. There are some that don't care if you break the rules. So you hack the rules. Like I recommend so I'll actually show you what I do. Oh gosh, I always forget what I call things. I have so many documents. What I actually do, this one's not. Oh, this one is formulaic, so it might take a teeny bit. You always load on the wrong page, the wrong tab. What I do, oh, I meant this one. What I do is, I actually, nope, not this one. I am such a bad teacher right now. Okay. I keep a list of the subreddits that I want to post to, and ones that I've looked up what the rules are, so that I have it as like a reference. I also track the size of the subreddit to see how big they are, because if you have a really, really large subreddit, you're probably going to have more active users. But when you look at like smaller subreddits, like the 1K or like a 7.1K is kind of small. It's not super small, but it's kind of small. Those places may not have a lot of active people, and so usually what I'll do is I'll look at like how many posts have been put here in the last week, and what type of posts. If it's like the same person over and over again and nobody else, and there's only been like 3 posts in that last week, it might not be worth my time to post there. You know what I mean? But you never know. And then like I have like other strategies too, like if I want to post in DeviantArt, I have a couple threads in DeviantArt that I post to as well. And then this is me sort of like thinking about this that I could start posting. This is sort of like my spitballing places that I could possibly post. And then, do you know what UTMs are?
No.
Yeah, I remember it. Oh, wait, no, I don't remember it.
Okay,
I've
that's
heard of
perfectly
it.
fine. So UTM stands for Urchin Traffic Monitor. And essentially what it is it's a super long, fancy link that basically what you do is you have an original URL, a medium, a source, campaign name, and term. Do you remember we've seen these words before?
Yes. We talked about this, I believe.
Yeah, look at that. Medium, source, campaign, and term. Essentially what you can do with these links is you can use these 4 aspects to create custom links so that you can figure out which link is which. You can figure out where your readers are coming from to individual posts, which I think is awesome. So just like how in your analytics, you have this one right here. This is a UTM. So that we could figure out where exactly these readers came from this specific post, if anybody came from the specific post, and they have. And so that's how we know you've had 212 unique people click on that link, and you've gotten 2,627 reads from those 212 people. This is really, really helpful information to know how your marketing campaigns are doing. To know which ones work, which ones don't work, rather than just seeing direct NA, or like Reddit NA. Oh, where did that one person come from? I'd love to be able to go post there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or yeah. So looking at I was gonna look at mine. I was gonna show you. I'll show you some analytics. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
I just wanted to say I really appreciate you like exposing your comic. I was totally okay with you exposing my comic.
Oh, I do. I do this for everybody. my analytics are all over the educational blogs, and so I have no shame anymore. I mean, I feel bad that my analytics have tanked, but that's because I've been messing around, and now I'm finding out. So it's okay. What's the phrase? I'm testing my assumptions at my earliest convenience.
Yes.
Anyway, so this post here was one that I did not make, but was made on the 14th of March in r/fantasy book club, and it did okay. It didn't do super well, but it did okay. This one's kind of funny. This particular my Twitter bio, and it's in here. Find it. Here we go. Here it is. Line number 6. I created a unique link, and the reason why these are so short is because the Twitter bio only allows for so many characters.
So, which makes sense. It's Twitter.
Yeah. So I had to make it really, really short just to make it fit. But now I know if I like go to say, I don't know, maybe, well, I guess, this post is only about a month old. So let me see if I can get more for 3 months. Okay. Yeah. If I go back and I look at this, over the last 3 months, I've had 58 people click on my Twitter bio link, and I've got 962 page reads just from my Twitter bio alone in the last 3 months.
Gotcha.
And so I know how valuable having it there is. Another thing we can look at is Twitter. Banger tweets. I love this one. When I have a tweet takeoff do really well, I always add a UTM on it. I want to see, is it worth it to add it on? Like, what time is it worth it? When I released update number 2, I had a special little picture of Hokoway that I added into the ad, and so I listed it there. Release number 2, Save Hokoway, posted on February 8th, 2023. So what I like to do is I like to add these in here so that I know exactly where my marketing is coming from. And as you can see, I've kind of been covered lately. It happens. One thing I do want to point out is this one. You may occasionally see like CC Gold. This means that somebody was on the Gold page. They came in through the Gold page, which is Global Comics Gold is our subscription service. They came in through that page and they read my stuff. That's kind of nice. Right. There's an ad in here as well. Let me here, Google Ads. If you see this particular one, Google Ads, July 20 dynamic ads. We did not make an ad for your specific comic. Just ad in general. People came in through the ad. That specific user was acquired through that ad, and they ended up bringing your comic. So if you see that, that's what that means. And then sometimes you get really weird stuff. Like, I have Manga Scout in here. Thank you, one person who read 40 pages. Why from Manga Scout? I don't know, but that doesn't mean they found my comic on Manga Scout. They just found a comic on Manga Scout. Who, right. What it was, don't know. Yeah. All kinds of weird stuff in here. It's glorious, really. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, that's
I'm out on Sci-Fi Scroll now because that was one of the ones that was hit. I noticed on mine was coming in from that one, which is the number 1 post on Sci-Fi Scroll. That other one, what was it? I've now
nice.
What was it? Where was it? Cavity. Anyway, DC Cavity.
Cavity, yeah. So usually what I do, when I have these is I go through, and you can see that I'm usually linking to the very first page. You can see that 1/1. Let me zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1/1. I almost always use the medium social because, social media. And then the source I usually list as what the website is. Am I posting to Reddit? Am I posting to Twitter? Am I posting to DeviantArt? You can see I've been really bad and haven't been promoting well this month. And they've not been doing well. I have. And then here's where I'm a little bit more specific. If it's in a particular subreddit, I'll list the subreddit. And then I have a couple ways that I'll sort things. If I'm posting about a sale, I have sales. If I'm replying to a tweet that did really, really well, or I anticipate to do really well, I'll do banger tweets. If I'm replying to somebody like an art share or, hey, like, can I have a link to your comic? I'll do reply. And then I have who I replied to, and then I'll mark if it was an art share or not. And this way I know if I see it pop up in my release, in my data, hey, this thing worked. Now, one thing I will say is there are some ad blockers that will mess with UTMs.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and so in mine, this is really on mine, because I have a sky high direct compared to the next highest source. What happens is if there is a UTM blocker or ad blocker or something, it'll mark it as null, and that null gets put into direct. That's my thing anyway. That's a theory. That's allegedly. So yeah, and direct is usually mostly organic traffic within the platform, but because it's kind of an amalgamation of things, I don't really know what all is in it, but it's mostly organic traffic and a little bit of null, as far as I'm aware, and some other things. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm now tracking down all of the things that I didn't know were all part of, like, I'm like looking at r/sci-fi, didn't even know that existed, because I belonged to r/science fiction. That made sense.
Yeah.
But going back through my analytics, I'm like, well, maybe I should be hitting r/sci-fi, and not just. And what's Mad Cave? Now I'm curious.
Mad Cave is a publisher.
Is it what?
A publisher.
Oh, well, that's probably not somebody I was thinking about, but.
Yeah, that's probably not somewhere you want to post about your stuff.
Yeah, that probably won't go over as well.
Yeah.
They'll be mad. Why'd you do that?
But yeah, I hope this was all fun and interesting information.
Yeah, like I totally am like looking through all this going, wow.
Right.
Like,
but yeah, so that would be the next steps, would be to sort of go through, do this process. And I don't think I gave you, this is the Reddit one. If you want to start posting on Reddit, they also do have a Global Comics subreddit. And let me find the post that she made. She has a thread in the Global Comics forums where this creator that I worked with, where she actually breaks down her process, how she thinks about Reddit and how she promotes on Reddit. So I'll link that to you as well. Highly recommend you read through this thread. She absolutely loves helping people. And then here's the best part. She has a list, once we get to it, of all the different, of tons and tons and tons and tons of different subreddits that she is looking to post in, wanting to test. And so that's something that she and I are kind of working on, is going through and testing all these different subreddits. And then if you have posted in one and, either you've done well or not done well, you can always reply here and let her know what your experience was. Or if you find other subreddits that she hasn't added to her list yet, basically we're going to turn this into a giant repertoire of subreddits that people could look into posting.
Okay. I mean, because I'm looking at the Global Comics subreddit. Can I post there too?
Yeah, sure can. Just I believe we do have a rule about how often you can self-promo, just so that it doesn't turn into spam.
Right.
I believe,
as often as I put out releases, probably not one of those things.
So that's going to be the biggest thing I'm going to suggest to you, is you should promote your comic no less than 3 times a week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
nice. Or at once a week. At least once a week starting out. If 3 times a week is too much, that's okay. That's why I have a sheet like this. And in the Reddit article, you're actually a copy of the sheet. And so all you have to do, it's a community copy. So just make a copy for your own, and it'll fill in all of this for you. So for example, if I wanted to make one today, let me copy these down. Let's say I wanted to make a post.
God's Bane's anniversary.
It was God's Bane's anniversary on the 31st.
Yeah, I'm just looking back through them now.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's say I want to do a post. Let's just say, I just want to say, happy birthday, Aros. It's not really his birthday on the 6th, but let's pretend it is. I could say, happy birthday, Aros. And I'm going to say, start page. Oopsie, no spaces. Start page 2. Oops, start page. Start. And then post it on 04/6/2023. You can see it auto-filled this area here. The big thing is make sure there's no spaces, because spaces break links, right? So make sure there's no spaces. And so then I could then take this link, which is really long. You can see the formula up here that it's putting it all together. I can take this link and I can throw it anywhere I want. And if anyone clicks on that link to go read the comic, it'll let me know. Well, it'll keep track of it.
Well, okay, so now that's the important next question I have, because I have
Mhm.
lots of questions now.
Yeah.
Down here, we've got all these NAs. I get that from referrals from Facebooks and stuff like that. I got 55 page reads, 8 unique visitors from Reddit that are just nowhere.
Mhm.
Kablooey Comics is kind of a fun little place that actually I found somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. So that's also good. So, but I mean, like, all of these kind of coming in, what does direct mean? Just people here on
Yeah. Direct.
Global
Yeah,
Comics?
direct in this case would be a mix of null that I spoke about earlier, and direct organic traffic within the website. They just came in through the globalcomics.com, or they Googled globalcomics.com, came in that way. Completely organic traffic.
Oh,
No special like direct links or anything.
so there's 45 unique readers with 687 page reads.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
looking at that, I mean, that's not the second highest. I guess it is the second highest by page reads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, overall, yeah. Let me daily. Oh, 1 month. That's fine. Yep. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing 46 and 838 over like the course of your series over the last year, just the last year. So yeah, that's great. So
Yeah,
look at that. You're still getting readers.
Yeah, I'm like updating because I guess I'm not getting the numbers, or I'm not getting the same numbers, which means getting a lot more than I think.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what were your other questions?
So how do you prevent spam? I mean, like, because this is something that gets me. I'm very bad at this stuff. Like, I just like last week or whatever, I tagged Oi Bob and Shauna in a picture, and they were like, yeah, don't do that. And I was like, I miss all of these rules, like, when we should, when we shouldn't. So, like, I'm really worried about, you've promoted this too many times, you're now banned, sort of stuff. So
Honestly, with Reddit, the only thing you can really do is just read the rules and try to abide them the best way that you can. Most subreddits will list if there are restrictions on that, they'll list them on the right-hand side as community rules. I believe on ours we have that. So let me bring that up.
So, but that's the next question. Should I post my comic on the subreddit and then next week post it again?
I don't know. You're gonna have to look at the rules. Some subreddits.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm saying, provided that the rules do not prohibit that.
Oh.
Is that what you're recommending I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I but I would not do it the exact same way every time. Like maybe one time, like actually, like just say, "Hey guys, here's a comic. I really like you guys' feedback." What we find works better is if you never post it as, "Hey, come read my stuff."
Right.
Always either ask for feedback or like post artwork. Like do like an indirect form of self promo tends to work a lot better. Reddit is extremely anti self promotion. A lot of them get really aggressive with it. And so if you can phrase it in such a way where you're trying to create engagement in terms of on Reddit versus just, hey, like follow me off site, that tends to a lot better. Let me see if I can show you like some of my like past ones that I've done really well. Let's see, top posts.
Yeah, I'm horrified to ask.
That's okay.
Because I'm afraid if I ask for feedback, people will give me feedback and then I won't like it.
Yeah, so like here's one that I did that did pretty well. I said, here's some pages from my Manga Gods band that I started this month, and that's all I said. I didn't say, hey, go read it. I just said, hey, here's some pages from this that I started, and I just shared like a couple pages. These are old pages. But just here's some pages. And then on the first one, I added a link to it. You can see it right here. I added a link to it. And I got 28 comments on it. People were asking me about it. They were giving me feedback. Hey, what brush did you use with that? Or what's it about? Like, that worked really well. And in Clip Studio, I shared, this is relevant to my manga, but it's not like I didn't even mention anything about our manga.
Right.
And I got people asking me, is this from something? Like, what character is this? Like, what is that? And I could say, oh, it's a character from my manga. It's a fox named Ak, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm basically like, what I do is I set up situations where I could have people asking me questions, because in most subreddits, if people ask for a link, you're allowed. And so if I can create an engagement and help the subreddit grow by getting that engagement, getting that karma, then most moderators are happy to like let you send in those links. Same one here, just a page for Shonen Jump contest submission. Some more manga panels I'm working on. Can I have some feedback on my character design? This one did okay, but I even got some awards. So like, oh, here's your post. Same thing here. Here's a work in progress cover that I'm working on. I got a lot of reads from this one. So yeah, sometimes a video that I made about screen tones. I got a lot of YouTube followers from this one. Some comiXology stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, just like here's starting my new manga. Here, it's been a while. Blah 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 blah. Here's another manga page. Thank you. Thank you for. Oh, I forgot to add a word here. Yeah, just throw in some pages from my newest update that particular day. Like sometimes it's the most chill posts that we're not actively trying to promote something that do the best. My advice.
But you're putting those to like Clip Studio and stuff.
Yeah. I don't really post to anywhere. Like, so what I focus on only a handful of subreddits.
Right.
Like, you don't want to be.
What I was thinking is like looking at subreddits. I was like sitting there and thinking about it. I was like, well, I mean, like, I want to?
Well, an option would be to cycle them through, like 1 week post in one subreddit and 1 week post in another. If you're worried about the spacing being too close, that could be a good option for you, is to just cycle them through. Maybe if you want to post to 2 subreddits a week, you can do that. If you want to post to 1 subreddit a week and just cycle them through, you can do that too. Like a different strategy might work for me than you, because I'm so active in Clip Studio in general, not just me posting there, just talking. It's easier for me because I've already established like a reputation in Clip Studio by being there. I'm active, and so like they're okay to see promotional posts for me as long as I follow the rules. I had a subreddit that I just posted in r/manga. There were no rules against self-promotion that I saw, and literally the second I promoted second I posted it, deleted. Literally within seconds, it was deleted. Probably a bot. Just fine. Like, I broke the rule somehow. I don't know what I did, so I'm gonna have to go figure it out. So I'm purposely not going to post there for at least 30 days because I don't want to like risk being banned from r/manga.
Right.
Really important subreddit for me. And so I'm not gonna post there for a little while because I made somebody mad. So I'm focusing on other places I can go post, like world building and fantasy and Archer, because I have some Archer characters. I'm going to go throw some pictures of my Archer characters in there, not even mention the manga. And they're going to see their manga panels, so maybe they'll ask. I don't know. So like by focusing on sometimes individual panels or individual artworks, or just asking for feedback, which is really scary. But sometimes you can get really cool ideas. I actually had a really, really cool exchange with somebody asking for feedback. Let me see if I can find it new. I'll find it. Here we go. So this one, it didn't get a lot of upvotes. But this was my very first post here, so I didn't really expect that much. And I didn't even post a link to my manga. It was just building reputation there because it was my first post. Like I talked about these creatures that I have in my series called Miyabe. And then, I asked them for advice and I gave them feedback, or I listed what they were, how they were. So I just wanted feedback on the type of creatures they were, because the subreddit called r/creature design. And I have a couple, whoops.
Creature
couple-
design. I've
Yeah,
got
I
a
have
couple of like weird aliens.
Yeah, there's also an r/aliens thing too. So I just posted like a couple images of these creatures and like what they were about. I had that comment here listing everything about them. And so in the future, I can say, hey, like here's some more drawings of these myopic creatures that I talked about earlier. Oh, someone downvoted me. Thank you for your feedback. It was 10 a second ago. That's gonna happen. But yeah, like give me some feedback. What do you guys think about it? And so I didn't even drop a link to my manga at all. Like I just wanted to just start building reputation here, so that in the future when I post, they can go, oh hey, I remember you, that kind of thing. So same thing here. Like, and I also went into r/creature design, and I commented on things. Like I will always, what I'll usually do is I'll go in and I'll leave a bunch of comments first to be active, and then I'll make my post. Because I want the mods to stay active there, and I'm actually talking to people. Artist Lounge is a really fun one to go into as well, because you have just artists there to talk art stuff, make some friends. It's great, pretty chill place. Eventually, I'll be posting in graphic novels. I'm building a reputation there. Manga art's the same. Like so there are some subreddits that I'm actively posting in. There are some subreddits that I'm only commenting in. And there are some subreddits that I have on a list that I will get to eventually. So I have a couple subreddits in different stages, because eventually I like to be posting in all of them. But because if they see you posting the same thing to a lot of different subreddits, like if I were to post to like 7 places in one day, they might go, oh, well, that's just spam. Even though they're only posted once to my place, they're spamming. Right. So it's not worth going to. Or this person is not worth having here, so I'll ban them because they're just going to spam me eventually. So it's think about how you want to play that strategy, and this is where a lot of people like gloss over. Is it's a lot of work. And that's why I have this sheet. That's why the sheet exists. Is I'm doing it right, like I did for these couple days. I'll come in here and I'll plan it, and I'll say, okay, like let me this time period here, I from the 8th and the 9th, I came in and I planned all of these posts in advance. So, and you can schedule posts on Reddit. You can schedule, so sit down for a couple, like maybe an hour or two. You write up your posts, you schedule it, and you can be done for the week.
Right.
If you're posting once a week, it would take 15-20 minutes tops, depending on how long it takes you to write the copy for the actual post itself. Like depending on how you want to do it, get the image ready. Like for me, creating a Reddit post takes maybe like 3 minutes, because I've worked a system down for myself. So it's just a skill you got to work on. That's all.
I'm looking through like world building right now. I'm trying to figure out like what's what looks like the rules in this one. Sort of thing, that same kind of thing.
So that would be my suggestion if you guys want to start posting on Reddit. To just focus on figuring out who your audience is, going through this process here, what themes, what genres, what similar titles do I have, and then how to use this information. And if you guys need help on Global Comics, like always feel free to message me privately if you want, or if you want the help. But we have these articles here for people to use that are in our community section for education. They're always here. Or if you just need to know, hey, Kat, do you have an article on blank? Just DM me. All of my DMs on every platform are open for this reason, because I expect people to send me messages asking for help. That's part of my job on the community team for Global Comics, is I help people.
Right.
So if anyone needs help with a specific topic, or you want me to cover a specific topic, or heck, if you want your own creator sit down, just let me know. I literally schedule these. It's part of my job.
Yeah, no, this was super incredibly useful. I don't even.
You're very welcome.
Like looking at this, going, I didn't even know.
Like, it's fascinating.
Very useful. because I'm getting a lot
lot
of
of-
ground from Reddit, which makes
Mhm.
sense.
So you were like, how do I keep this going? How do I keep it moving?
Right.
Mhm.
And that's
Um,
a ground that we can come in on.
and if you ever need to review your analytics, Guy, I have an article on analytics. So if you ever need a refresher, we have that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And then this first one be helpful is looking at the different types of self-promotion that you can do on different platforms. The TikTok one, I can't promise will be relevant.
Yeah, well, but like
that was written a while ago.
putting things into like
Mm-hmm.
like out on Insta wouldn't be a bad idea.
No, not at all. Like reels are do especially well. And so that's what that's what this article does is it sort of looks at the pros and cons of all these different platforms. I show people how I'm using them. If you're a big Twitter person, or if any of you are big Twitter people, like using Twitter Analytics, the website itself should be very valuable to you. Are you familiar with this guy?
No, but I don't use Twitter as much as Can does.
Okay. Well, for Can's sake, I'll go over Twitter Analytics briefly.
Oh, you're talking about like the fact that they just opened up the analytics so we can now read it?
No, I'm talking about the actual website, analytics.twitter.com.
Oh, okay. No.
But we can't talk about that because we kind of discussed it we kind of discussed it earlier as like a group among like us Global Comics peeps. So Twitter Analytics, analytics.twitter.com, huh? Geeks, yeah.
As you geeks,
yeah.
You're like, this is cool.
It is cool, yeah. I love this stuff. I love analytics. I love data. I love math. I love numbers. I mean, I'm sure you can tell. Like, I didn't even show you all of my analytics tracker sheet. I only showed you like of it. It has 7 tabs. That's why it was really slow. I track a lot of things on my own because I purposely experiment with things. I purposely mess with things. You know, like I'm testing my assumptions per se, and I'm finding out that there's a lot of things that I should just leave alone. Which now I know. But anyway, so what's really cool about this is if you're a big Twitter person, I highly recommend this. Is it looks over, let me look at March. It looks over all of your individual tweet activity. It can give you a brief summary here. So like I put out 689 tweets. I had almost 12,000 profile visits. I had 58 new followers, tweet impressions, and mentions. I had 790 mentions of my username, which is really neat. So let's say I want to look at my tweet activity for March. So I can click on this. Don't give me that. Tell me that. So this is from the last 28 days. You can see the dates here. If I found this, I would like to look at just March. All right, so now looking at just March, I had a lot of stuff going on March. It's been crazy. You can sort by your individual tweets. You can sort by tweets and replies, and you can sort by top tweets, which is what I usually click on. Otherwise, they're just in order. You can see and by top tweets, it sorts by impressions, which I think is kind of dumb. I think they should sort by engagement rate, which is very sad. I don't get it. It's dumb.
It is kind of weird.
Yeah, but what's really neat. So if I want to see, hey, why is this my top tweet? Why did this get so many impressions? I can click on this and it'll tell me how many profile clicks I got. I got 27 profile clicks on this, which is manga and comics are not the same. They do not use the same visual. Oh, I know what tweet this is. They do not use the same visual grammar. They have different SFX uses and symptoms. Blah, blah. Basically, I was talking about visual grammar and comics and manga, which is something I talk about a lot, unfortunately. Was able to see, like, I got one follow from this tweet talking about visual narrative and visual grammar. Like, thanks, person who followed me because of this. I get to see the engagement rate on it. I saw I had a better one though. Like my very first, like I had a really good beginning of March. Here we go. Oh yeah, talking about not updating. Me talking about not updating because of my bad wrist. Like the anniversary tweet did really well. It had like almost like 9% engagement rate, which is awesome. What happened here? I want to know what happened here. The first? Okay. Oh god, I have to scroll all the way to the bottom. What tweet was that? I put out too many tweets. Oh lord. Loud. What happened on the first? I don't even know what happened on the first.
You're like,
Well,
I don't
it's
know what's
not
going on
in-
here.
Okay, it's me this one. Oh, it's art. It's artwork. For whatever reason, this one did really well. Yeah, like just pictures of my main villain, and people they liked that. Everyone clapped. Oh, and the app
Right.
too. The app, yeah, like me talking about playing with stuff. That's what did really well. Oh, this one too. Manga and comics. It's the same tweet. Manga and comics are not the same. Just me complaining about people thinking that comics and manga are the same thing. That's all that complaint. That's all that tweet was. It was just me complaining about that. Oh yeah. Oh, Comics Flow. Guy, have you seen Comics Flow yet?
Comics where?
No.
Oh my gosh, you guys will love this. Let me show you. So this is a tool. Mine's not updated, so please forgive me. I need to update all my dates because I didn't post. So it'll look a little different. So Comics Flow. It's invite only, but you can ask for an invite. Ignore the fact that all my deadlines are passed. Please ignore that. You can actually. So what this is like an organizational app. If you struggle with organization, if you struggle with or like getting organized, this is a really good app for that. Look at my completed. Let me go into chapter 1. I'll actually show you what it does. It lists all of your individual pages, and on each of your individual pages, like if I click on page 1, I can actually create and organize all of these individual steps in the order that I want. And I can each of these individual statuses is done or not done. So if I go into so like if I go into like let me go into one that is like in progress. So if I go like I'll just click on this one. This is the current one. So let's say I'm on page 1, and I have my name done, pencils done, lettering done, inks done. Screen tones, let's say they're on hold. I can mark that as on hold and it'll let me know. And see how this progress bar went up as I completed things. And it lets you know this is your deadline. It lets you know where your deadline is in comparison to how many pages you have done. It's a visual representation of how much work you have done.
That's kind of cool.
Isn't it? Yeah. And so I can actually go into like viewing like a page. Well, let me look at the project. And if I click on pages, it'll actually show me all the pages that I have. You can upload images to each of the processes. So I had like name, pencils, inks. If I wanted to, I could upload each of those images to that one page so I could see my progress. Or if I work on a team and I have artists that I'm organizing, I can have them upload that. You can also add script to these pages. So if, let's say, you have an editor and you send it to your editor, they can actually go in and add notes and say, I would make them say this on this panel. They can actually add notes and stuff. So this is an app that it will be an app, but it was a site I was invited to by the creator for me to test out. And all my dates are wrong now because I skipped April's update. So I need to go in and change all my dates. But yeah, so this has been really cool. So if you guys,
that's fascinating. Yeah.
Let me get you a link if you're interested. Just because I know like a lot of you guys are is, but yeah, I highly recommend Comics Flow if you need just help getting organized. I know it's an extra step for a lot of people, but for me, I'm a visual person. That's why I like numbers and data and math and graphs and charts, because it gives me like a visual representation of how behind I am, because behind is almost always my status. I'm one of those people where it's like, all right, it's the day before. I've got 3 pages to do. Let's get them done. I hate to admit that, but that's me.
All right. So Can, do you have any
Yeah.
questions? Well, because we're coming up on the end of the show, so
Yep. Yeah.
make sure
yeah.
we've got like all the questions.
I'm still trying to absorb everything that was just thrown at me.
Right.
Well, the good
There's a
news is
lot
you
in
can
there.
watch this back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of information that just went blazing through.
That's okay.
In
Like
2
it's a
hours.
lot. That's why I said at the beginning. It's a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
And I'm actually really glad we didn't jump forward. We stayed with the initial comics, the global
analytics and
comics
stuff, yeah.
analytic stuff, because that was really important to go over so that we knew what was going on when it came to the social media side of things.
Yeah. So recommendation, guy, for like a projection, which I've already said it before. My recommendation would be to start posting on Reddit for you, since you're not used to posting on Reddit, once a week. That would be my recommendation, is to start with once a week. And I would try out different subreddits. See which ones get good reactions, which ones don't. You know, and unfortunately, you may run into grumpy mods. It's going to happen to everybody eventually. It's happened to me a couple times, and I just don't go back. You know,
That's
like,
fair.
yeah, like you're gonna, like, there's grumpy people everywhere. Maybe so.
I like that there's grumpy people everywhere.
And yeah, there's grumpy people everywhere, and then me just happens to jump in and go, yeah. Yeah, so you're gonna run into grumpy. So what I would do is I would just track. Hey, this is how my experience was. Get a spread your links in there. Put the links to your Reddit posts in there. So if you want to find them, you can find them very easily. And then write notes. Like, how did it go? What was the experience like? Like, make notes to yourself. So that is a bad place to sit. Just make notes and see how it goes.
That works for me.
Miso.
Is that your cat? Yeah, Miso.
Yeah.
5 minutes remaining.
Yep. We're at the end.
Yep.
There we go. That's what
All
I wanted to do.
Were there any
set
other questions, Guy?
I had clicked by accident the issue Omake as the comic cover, and I was like, that's not what I wanted. But I fixed it, so that's what I was doing. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like, looking at all of these, but that's okay. So looking at theme max 6 of these, looking in here, like, I've already selected quite a few of these. I noticed I wasn't on Mecha, on the Mecha theme, and I really should be. There's
Yeah.
Mecha.
And add tags. Whatever themes you can't add, because there's not enough to add. You can only add 6. What I would do is any other themes that you can't add because you've already selected the max, add them into your tags.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
That'd be my recommendation.
Yeah, because I'm like, I have 5 selected, and I'm like, I should probably select 6.
Yeah.
Because it is sort of a thing.
Yep.
So.
Fill out your tags as much as possible. It helps with SEO. And then there are people who are like, why isn't anyone finding my comic? Well, did you fill out your tags? Did you fill out your themes? Did you fill everything out? And most of the time it's no.
So I'm looking at here is I'm like, kind of looking at some of this stuff here and going, well, maybe I should add some more. So cool. Okay, well then that's awesome. I think wow, this is so much stuff.
Yeah.
So
if you guys
big.
have questions, if you guys need me to like re-go over something with you again, just like shoot me a DM or something, and I'm happy to explain it again. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. There is a lot going on here.
It's taken me, let's see, I've been at Global Comics a year and a half now. And like, even for me, like, that's why I budget at least an hour to go over stuff with people, because it usually takes at least an hour to scratch the surface. And sometimes I have to do follow-ups just because they have so many questions, and I only have like a allotted amount of time. But yeah, like never hesitate, guys, to reach out to me. And if you're watching this either later or have watched it and you have questions, just shoot me a message.
You are awesome. Thank you so much for coming in here and helping us with this. I'm
Yeah, of course.
like
You're
clicking all these buttons, and I'm like, look at all these things. I don't even know what half these things do. Although
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
figuring it
lot.
out. Yeah, because I'm like noticing that I seem to have put most of my hashtags in there. Did you want the tags to not have the pound sign?
Yeah, they don't need the pound sign.
Okay, because I put the pound sign on all of them.
Yeah, I kind of like to joke at the end. It's like a whole new world. Like at the very end, just because it's like, wow, marketing. How does this work? And then I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
Depends. The word depends is probably the most popular word in my vocabulary.
Right.
Yeah,
There we
everything
go.
depends.
I've added some of those so that helps a little bit more, I think. Yep. Okay, cool. All right. Well, that was actually like a lot. Thank you so much, Kat. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on
Thank
here and
you.
helping us.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy that I could help, and happy I could give you some more information, and hopefully like I try to focus. Like this can be overwhelming, but I try to focus on empowering creators by giving them this data. By having this data, you can better look at how your marketing strategy is working. And marketing is so frustrating to people because it feels like such a chore. But if you can think about it in the right light, and educate yourself on how things work, how to approach it, you can really empower yourself. And that's how I try to focus these things on. By like you're doing yourself a favor. It's an investment game, honestly. Investing, learning how this stuff works, learning how your analytics work. There are some people that don't even realize we have analytics.
Right.
And so yeah, like I'm glad I could help. I'm really glad I could be of service.
That's awesome. And like there's a lot of things now. There's like the next step,
Yeah.
which is monetizing and figuring out how to make that work, because both Ken and I are sort of doing well, here we are,
Yep.
So how do we make this work for us so that we're making money and bringing in income and stuff like that? So
there's a couple different ways to do that. You've got donations. You can do PDF sales. You could do paid page reads. Like
and a lot of these are, what is a PDF? Like I've got to figure out, like, it's conceptual that I need to have changed, because to me, I'm like, why would you sell PDFs? You could just read it online. You know what I mean? Like stuff. And it's
right. So, which is why I was shocked I sold 9 copies, even though it's free to read. Right. I sold 9 copies. And I'm like, what? I had no idea that would happen. And so that's some extra money that I have, which is really, really cool. And I have monthly supporters, which I treat just like a Patreon. Yeah. They support me on Global Comics, and I send them early release. I send them early releases. I give them early access to some things. The biggest tool that I find really helpful, and I'll show you this in mine because I don't want to bring up your pages and stuff. Is you can do private links. So, for example, I have a release that I just started. If I wanted to send this to people, so notice it's unpublished. It's still it's not published. If I wanted to copy the private URL, I could send this to somebody without having to publish it. And so that's how I send this to patrons, is I send that to them. And that way I don't have to publish it yet. But if I wanted to, I could publish it with the superfan status. So there's lots of different ways to be able to send things to people. Also, if you want your editor to look at it first, make sure it looks good. I have an editor, so like I'll send it to her. I'm like, can you do a final check before I release it? She looks it over, goes, looks good. Okay, boom, publish, done. So there's a whole bunch of other tools that are out there for you, and we can cover those, of course, at a later date. But like we have options, like, and we thought about this, like, what do publishers need? What do indie creators need? What do people who are new need? we're focusing right now that our app is going to be going live soon. We're going to be refocusing on what do creators need, what are tools that they need,
Right.
to make things easier for them.
Makes sense.
Right? Exactly, Miso. Yeah.
Right. But my thought is, well, what we will do then is we'll just invite you back at some point here once Kane and I have started actually getting a control over actually marketing and putting
Mhm.
things out.
Yeah, and we can do a marketing session too. If you need a second one, we can do a second one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is maybe we'll bring you back for another session and we'll
Mhm.
talk
Yeah,
about monetization now that we've got it,
Mhm.
maneuvered correctly. And maybe what we'll do is
Yep.
monetize or figure out maybe next time it'll be Kane's turn to get everything splayed out for everybody to see. So
It's up to him.
I have no problem with
Whatever.
it.
Cool. Yeah. We can work on another date. So yeah, we'll work on that. So I don't want to keep you guys longer than I have to. So
well, no, yeah, we've got to. I'm not going to. But while we're here and while we're talking about it, I will be late into show tomorrow because I'm going to a doctor's appointment. So
sorry to keep you.
no, you're not kidding me. But I'm just going to say that while I'm here because that's an important thing. So if you guys are wondering where I am tomorrow morning at 9, I won't be here at 9. I'll be here probably like closer to 10. So, but that's all right. That's okay. And all will be good. So, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Kat. I really appreciate you coming in here and helping all this stuff. This is like so many
You're
things, but I'll figure it out.
very welcome.
So I do have one more question here. It says release 1 and release 2. Is there any way to change
Mhm.
those? I guess there's no need to change them around. Can I change their order or?
Yeah. Yep. Watch this. So if I wanted to, I could just. Boop.
Oh, okay.
I can just click and drag.
They're in the right
Same thing with
spot right
pages.
now because I want the
Yeah.
omake to be before the momentary ghosts, but moment.
Yeah. You can just drag it, and even though it's already published, it'll just switch places.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Cool.
Mhm.
Because I want the omake to be separate in some way. So
Yeah, you can totally just switch it. The only thing to know though is all of the links that we've made that go to chapter 1, that will be the new chapter 1. And so all the links will now go to Omake first.
okay, so if I switch them, all the
Mhm.
links.
Yeah, well no, the links will still work in this particular case. It just because your ghost one is now number 2, it'll go to the Omake first instead of the ghost, because that'll be now chapter 2. So just keep that in mind. Is it'll switch which page, it'll change which page people are going to.
Gotcha.
So just keep that in mind.
That makes some sense. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, that's why we have it that way, so that it doesn't break links. It'll just go to whatever the new chapter 1 is.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. And
You're very welcome.
I know that we had Merrick here for like literally one post, and I hope he was okay. And David may still be here. I don't even know. Optic Sphinx was here for a little bit. Donald was here. We did have Brent, of course, and that looks like pretty. I think we had Mint Tea as well for just a moment.
We had Mint Tea for a little bit.
Oh, and David's still
Hi,
here.
David.
Managed to hang out the entire time, and Sarge was here for a minute.
Sorry if it was boring, David.
So
sorry. It's a lot of stuff.
So that was a lot of detail here. There's a lot of good stuff. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and I will see you tomorrow morning. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.